trust everyone is doing well. Well, let's get right to it, shall we? Because, as little as I feel like I always say in these things, it seems like I never have enough time for all of the useless information I keep right in here. Well, you might say that we're doing vampires again. I mean, it just worked out that way. I don't usually go looking for themes, but, when I pick a few movies, and then it seems like they all have some particular thing in common, I feel like, well, gee, maybe I should stress that, they have these things in common. So we're going to do that. The first film is from the 1940s. It's another one of those oldie moldies, folks, which I seem to like to feature. But, I grew up as a kid watching a lot of these old films on TV, and it makes me really nostalgic to be able to kind of revisit them. Well, the first one is yet another vampire film starring Bela Lugosi. And as you can see, it's entitled The Return of the Vampire. This is one that I used to watch when I was a kid on the Fright Night, Creature Feature, whatever showcases. And it's an interesting kind of hybrid film. As I said, it was produced during the 1940s, during the war years. And Hollywood always seemed to like to try to incorporate the war into just about every film that it was producing in one way or another, even if it wasn't a battlefield picture. So they certainly did in this one too. Here's a vampire film that has as the backdrop two world wars. It actually begins during World War I and ends up winding up during World War II. Bela Lugosi portrays not Count Dracula. He actually only portrayed Dracula 2 times in the movies. Only 2 times. The original Dracula and Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. That's it. All the rest of the time, when he played vampires, he had to be called something else because copyright constraints and all that kind of thing. His name in this turkey... Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't mean that. No, his name in this feature was Armand Tesla. And he was supposed to have been an occult scholar who got way, way too deep into his studies and actually ended up becoming a vampire. And the interesting thing about this film, as far as I know, is it's the first instance I'm aware of in, the horror genre where a vampire and werewolf are combined, and that the vampire commands the werewolf, and the werewolf goes around doing the vampire's bidding, and all this kind of thing. That's a plot point that has been revisited a lot in recent years in the underworld films, with a great many more super duper special effects, and very, very big on visuals and very kind of minuscule tiny on storyline. But hey, whatever. But yeah, I like this movie a lot, and of course, as always, the vampire gets it in the end, or in the chest, with the stake. Well, moving on, the next one is from, I believe, testing my memory, it's got to be from the early 1970s, I'm guessing. It's a Hammer film, and I haven't done Hammer films nearly as often as I ought to here, because, I'm a great fan of the old Hammer production line, all of those films that they put out between 1958, 57, and the mid-1970s. Many of them featuring or starring either Christopher Lee or Peter Cushing, or both. Well, this one has neither. It has other people entirely. Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, and it's a very stylish little film. It's written and directed by the noted writer of the time, Brian Clemens, who I think had to have been an institution in England once upon a time. If he's not anymore. He's probably, if not, probably very, very fondly remembered by those practitioners of the horror genre over there. But this film actually had kind of a different turn on things. It involved a particular species of vampire which fed off of humans, not off of, human blood. It sapped human life force, life energy, gaining youth by these, processes. So, a little twist, a little turn on the established norms for, vampire films. And it's a real swashbuckler. Lots of sword play and, lots of, sort of old-fashioned Errol Flynn style, jumping and leaping and swishing their swords around and various things like that. But it's a fine film. It's one of my favorites for, an outfit like Hammer that pretty much made their bones on the Dracula story or variations on it. This is definitely kind of a different kind of turn on things. It's sort of a new lease on the whole vampire, the whole thing. I just hit a wall, folks. I'm sorry. I just hit a wall. Well, let's close out here, shall we, with the next film, and we will make a heralded return to, the sort of proper and accepted conditions for vampires, and that is, relating to vampires who have a never-ending thirst and hunger for blood. So, yeah, we'll do that. This is a more recent film, and it's produced by the, the Ghost House Pictures people, who I think started out with the remake of House on Haunted Hill and went on to do Ghost Ship and 13 Ghosts and all sorts of other things, sort of regenerating the horror genre from a particular production company. This one was a little obscure, at least in my universe, but then I don't get out much, called Rise, Blood Hunter. And this may come as a little bit of a shock to you, but I'm not a really, really big Lucy Liu fan. I'm just not, I never watched Ally McBeal. I don't give a crap about Charlie's Angels remakes. Whatever else, I have no idea. So, who cares? I didn't. But Lucy Liu's in this, and she surprised me. She did a pretty damn good job in this movie, and I will admit I didn't want to like her, but I ended up kind of having to give her props. She did all right. But the most important reason that anybody should ever watch this movie is because, holy crap, Michael Chiklis is in a horror film. Michael Chiklis, he is such a great, wonderful actor. He's portrayed everything from Curly from a Three Stooges to, a hard-nosed, kick-ass, corrupt cop in The Shield. The guy is amazing. You know, he can do anything. And he plays a really, really intense character in this film. Sort of with all sorts of personal angst as he goes through. But in any case, the basic storyline is Lucy Liu wakes up and finds she's been transformed into a vampire, and she wants revenge. She doesn't just want blood, she wants revenge. So that's number 3, and that will do it for me. Okay, I'm going to go off and write poetry now. So y'all have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.